Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing horror books that I tried, I've actually read, and books that I want to try. So if you're new to my channel, I am not a horror reader at all. I've tried. I've read a couple of Stephen King's and I DNF'd both of them. I even tried them at different points in my life and still DNF'd them. I just couldn't get into them. And I don't really know why. I think it's because I want it to be scary and it's just not. And then I don't really like it. I don't know. I watched a lot of scary movies, like, as a really young kid, like, young, like Freddy, Jason, Children of the Corn, Rose Red, Nightmare on Elm Street, when I'm, like, early elementary school. My favorite movie when I was 9 was Rose Red by Stephen King. That was my favorite movie. So I think I got really desensitized to a lot of the horror stuff early on, because I didn't like a lot of the horror movies when I was a teenager, and I've just recently started watching more horror movies and actually enjoying them a little bit more. There was a really long stretch, probably like 10, 15 years, where I didn't really watch any because they weren't very good. Like, I'd watch one here and there, and that was it. Didn't really like them, didn't really care, because I just didn't find them really good. And so I think that that's probably part of the problem with books, is because you can't really do jump scares and you don't really have the ominous music playing to really set the tone that really like gets your heart racing. And so I think that that's a big part of the problem with the horror books, is that, like, if I'm going to be in a horror world, like, I want to be scared, and I just never really found them scary. So I think that that's part of the problem. But I'm learning that it's just the story. Like, you're not necessarily going to be scared as the reader, but like the characters are going to be scared. And so, like, that's the point of it. And with a lot of these horror books, there are bigger plot points happening versus just being scared. And so that's just taken me a really long time to like learn. And I have read a couple of horrors that I really liked for various reasons, and we're going to go through those. But we're going to start with the two DNFs, and both of those were by Stephen King. And one was It, and the other was The Shining. The Shining I read, or well, attempted to read when I was like 13. And I think I got a little bit more than halfway through it and just could not do it. I just really didn't like it at all. And I don't even know why. Like, I just don't remember feeling really connected to the characters. I was really bored. And so I just DNF'd it pretty quick. Not pretty quick, but about halfway. And I don't even know that I really DNF'd a lot of books at that age. So, because I remember it being a really big deal that I just didn't finish it. But so The Shining is the one where we're following this family who is living in this hotel out in the mountains, and it's cold, it's wintertime, and things are happening in this hotel, and the dad gets kind of wacko. And so he starts attacking his family, I think, or something. I never finished it. So that's just kind of the pieces that I've picked up based on everything. Um, I think the kid has some sort of like sixth sense where he can see ghosts and things. And I think that was part of like the creepy part of it. And I just didn't care. And I really wanted to love it, because of Friends. I think that was the whole reason why I read it to begin with, because there's an episode of Friends where Joey reads it and he puts it in the freezer because he gets scared. And then Rachel reads it and it's a whole thing in the episode. And so that was the whole reason why I started it. And I just never loved it. And then the second one, It. I think I listened to 6 hours of the audiobook, and I think this was like last year, and I didn't like it either. And I just didn't feel connected to the characters at all. Like, at all. I just didn't care. And that, I think that's a big thing for me, is like, I need to feel connected to the characters, or I need you to have like a pretty fast paced plot. And this book is massive. I think it was like a 40-hour audiobook or something. We're going slow. And there were some creepy things happening early on, but I didn't really care. So I just DNF'd it. The very first horror that I read that I actually really enjoyed was John Dies at the End by Jason. I think it's Jason Paragon. This one is like Venom, sort of, and it's like comedic. it's just so absurd. So absurd. Like, the way I describe this book is like what an acid trip would be like. Like, it is so whacked out. And I just enjoyed it the entire time. I listened to the audiobook, and that may have been part of why I enjoyed it. I don't know how much I would have enjoyed it if I had just like physically read it. But this book, we're following these two dudes, and they get in contact with some of this like black goo type stuff, which is where like the Venom reference comes in, and it like attaches itself to them. And now they can like see things and talk to things that they shouldn't be talking to, like the dog can talk and all these weird things, and they're talking to ghosts, and it's just wacky. Like wacky, wacky. And it was so entertaining. I just loved it so much. And it was like very, very absurd. And I had the greatest time. Greatest time ever. I flew through this book. There are more in the series. I tried to read the third one and instead of the second one because I got confused, of course. And oh, I didn't like it. I think I just need to leave it at the one. I really do. And so I really loved it. So we're just gonna stick it to the one. And then the next one that I read was Stephen by Amy Cross. And I read that one this year. And that one is so slow. So slow. We were following this girl. And she is leaving the convent. She grew up there. She's not technically a nun. She just kind of grew up there, like as an orphan. And so she is becoming a governess for this family. Well, she finds out that the baby Stephen, who she's supposed to be in charge of, is dead and has been dead for a minute. But the mom treats him as if he's still alive. So we're following the governess as she's attempting to be in this family and deal with these weird dynamics in this house because why does this mom think this baby is still alive? And why is her doctor of a husband not fixing that? Like, he should say something. But no, she's just delusional and we're supposed to feed into this delusion and it's just so wild. I had a good time. Like, it was very boring up until like the very last of it. Like, the only reason I kept going is because I wanted to know how this kid died. That's the only reason why. And the end was wild, like so wild. Like there are things that I cannot not know now. Like there's no going back. And I can't take it back. And so if you know, you know. If you don't know, you probably don't want to know. Just being honest. You probably don't want to know. I also read Pet Cemetery. Actually, I think I read this one last year. This one was by Stephen King, and I actually liked this one fairly well. Um, it was slow too. Why are horror books so slow? Maybe because they just build and build and build. I needed to get going. But so Pet Cemetery is one that explores grief. And that was a big part of why I wanted to read it because I love books that explore grief. And so this one we're following a family who have had something tragic happen to their family. And there is a cemetery out in past the yonder where if you bury whatever dies in that cemetery, then it will come back. It comes back different, but it comes back. And so the family decides to, well, not the family, the husband decides to bury the thing that died and it resurrects, but it's not the same. And so we're having to deal with those consequences. It also deals with some grief that the mom has dealt with in her childhood and how that affected her and how they interpret grief and how they process through grief. And so that one part of it was pretty interesting. I didn't really care about the horror part of it, but that part was pretty good. And then the most recent one that I read was more of a slasher, and it is Night of the Mannequins. And it wasn't very scary at all. It's just this kid out here trying to protect his friends in the best way that he thinks is in the way that he thinks is right. And because this kid Sawyer, his him and his friends played a prank at the movie theater. They snuck this mannequin in, and then the mannequin comes to life, and then the mannequin starts killing people. And so Sawyer's attempting to get out in front of it and minimize damage is the best way to put that. And so It was fine. Not a huge fan of like the slasher stuff, at least not in that regard. But then again, it was kind of a short book, and I did like the tone of the book, like the narration style. Loved it. I thought that was fantastic. Okay, so some horror books that I actually want to try. The first one is The Long Walk by Stephen King. This wasn't even on my radar until the movie came out, and then me and the boyfriend were gonna go watch it, and I watched the trailer, and I'm like, that might be really interesting. And so the book is now on my list. If you haven't heard of it, this one, we're basically following these people as they are walking. And I guess they've got these, I don't know if it's a game. Like they have these like people behind them who force them to walk at a certain pace. And if they stop or they don't go the right pace, then they get shot. I did a really bad job of explaining that. So you've got these 100 boys, and they are in this contest for the prize. And it's basically a last man standing sort of thing. So you walk and you have to beat 99 people. There's no set distance on how far you're going to go, no set time frame of how long you're going to go. It's just the last man standing. And you have to go at a certain pace or you get shot. You cannot receive any aid from anybody else. And it's the last man standing. And it sounds really interesting. And I imagine that they're going to do a really good job of having you care for the characters. At least I hope. I haven't cared for a single Stephen King character yet in a novel. So I really hope that this would actually do it for me. If not, might be a pretty interesting read either way. The next one on my list is Blackwater, and I don't even really know how to explain it. So I looked it up, and this is probably the best way to explain it. On the surface, Eleanor is gracious, charming, anxious to belong in the town, and eager to marry, but her beautiful exterior hides a shocking secret. Beneath the waters of the river, she turns into something terrifying, a creature whispered about in stories that have chilled the residents of the town for generations. Some of those who observe her rituals in the river will never be seen again. I have only seen one YouTuber talk about this book, and it sounded so good when he really liked it. And so it's been on this list for about a year, I think, and I actually really want to read it. The cover looks really cool. It looks like a swamp and like a girl on the swamp on the picture in the swamp. So really interested. I don't know how I'm gonna do with that time frame. I really hope that I like it though. Hopefully the time frame doesn't pull me out of it too much. And oh my gosh, this next one is a classic. It is Psycho. And this is the one where we're following Norman Bates, and I'm guessing he's living at a hotel. And his mom has apparently been dead ish for like 20 years, but she still lives with him and she's there all the time to like keep him in line. Well, I guess this woman checks into the hotel and Norman Bates is being a perv. And so his mom is there to keep him in line, right? Apparently, this is a movie. I mean, I know that it's referenced a lot in pop culture and stuff. Like, I have heard of Norman Bates and the Bates Hotel and all those things. And I've not watched the movie or read the book or know anything else about it. This one I'm interested in because of the fact that it's pretty much a classic. Like, I feel like a lot of people know about it. I'm one of the last people to not know anything about it, either through the movie or the book. So I'm really excited about that so that I can actually like be in the know now. So this next one was a total cover thing. And you'll see on the screen when this cover pops up, it is gorgeous. Like it is so intriguing as a cover. So I was at Joseph Beth, which is the bookstore in Lexington here, and it caught my eye on the shelf. And I wanted to read it ever since. But so we're following this dude, and he finds out that his grandmother has died. And so he goes to her estate, and he is a struggling writer, so he's going to this estate, so hopefully he can, get some things written. And his grandmother has like these butterflies like pinned to the walls, and things are kind of creepy, and things just aren't right where he's at. And so he finds her diary. And so he's hoping that by reading her diary, he's going to learn some things about her and her death and hopefully get inspired to write his manuscript and get it finished and published and actually be a writer. Well, he's not entirely sure that he is going to survive the process. So I don't know what's going to happen in this house, but I really hope to love this just because this cover is fantastic. This next one is Ghost Eaters. This one is about drugs, basically. And I am so intrigued by the effect this drug has on people. So basically, this girl, her and her boyfriend, he's been in and out of jail, and he ends up overdosing. Well, she finds out that there's this pill that you can take in order to see the dead. I don't know if you can talk to the dead, but like it says to see them, so I assume you can talk to them too. And so she's going to take this pill in order to see her dead boyfriend. And the thing says the drug has unfathomable side effects, and once you take it, you can never go back. So there sound like there are going to be some really huge consequences to taking this drug. And I am so intrigued by those consequences and how this all will play out. And who knows what could possibly happen, because when you're in a book or story or whatever with bringing people back or being able to see them in that capacity, like they're never the same. Like things are always different, and you really regret the choices that you made. And so I'm really interested to see her kind of regret these choices. I think it'll be really entertaining. Another book that I'm interested in reading is a book that I heard about a long time ago, but I was not interested in it at all. But the more that I hear about it, the more that I'm intrigued. And that book is Tender as the Flesh, or Tender of the Flesh, something like that. I don't know. But apparently, in this book, we are no longer able or capable to eat animals for whatever reason. I don't know if we run out or if they get some sort of disease that keeps us from eating them. I have no idea. So, our solution to that is to breed people for consumption. Why that's the solution, I have no idea. With all of the stuff that we can do in genetic labs, that's the solution, whatever. But so, I have no idea how that's going to go. I have no idea the storyline at all. That's the only part that I know. I don't know if we're following somebody who is in one of these plants and they're like, this is not okay. Or if we're following somebody outside of it who's trying to like change the government. I don't know. But I'm definitely intrigued. And I don't know. I haven't fully decided if I'm going to read this one or not. But it's definitely up for consideration. I follow a lot of YouTubers that seem to really like it. So, I mean, chances are pretty good that I might like it. Who knows? But definitely something that I might check out. But so, that's all the books for now. Have you read any of these? What are some of your favorite horror stories that are really good for beginners? Because I am very much a beginner. Let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.